Sorry for any wind noise. Actually, this is a historic spot in the life of my family. I'm near the freeway, so it's a little loud. Sorry. But right up there, if I've told you guys in the past about how my family and I hit the road living on in a potato chip delivery truck, told my brother and I out of school and lived the hippie life, the very first place we spent after when we hit the road was right up there where the bike is parked. I found it. I've been coming by here for over a year now, not really realizing this was the very spot. Let me get out of the wind here, sneak away here. And I pulled over because I had this suspicion that this might be it, and I thought I'd do it. But I had another reason to stop. You know, this is the site of a fresh beginning for my family and I, as we set out for new things, and it set a precedent for my brother and I in terms of having the courage to strike out anew in life and to take on the unexpected, to go where we didn't know anything was going, what was going to happen. Our parents basically, we stayed here in the night in a potato chip truck. The next day, we took off on this road up here. You see, that's the El Prado Dam up there. It's the largest mural in America. It's over there, in 1776 mural. The kids wrote that. That was 1770 or 1976 when we took off, and they had just done that, and we just passed by, and my parents had no idea where they were going. They were just going on an adventure. They're taking Lyle and I out on that adventure, and this was the start. And that's, like I said, it set the precedent for the rest of my life. Get out of this wind. So anyway, I wanted to make this video. I wanted to stop. I was thinking as I was riding along that I have a new idea for a video series. And the video series is basically, I was thinking about my daughter, how she's going off, she's made her decision to not accept Christ. And it kind of sounds strange because usually you always hear it to accept Christ, but to not accept Christ. And to go her own way. And I was thinking about my own experience when I made my decision to not follow Christ. And that I remember the night that I did that. And I left the youth group meeting at night, got into my car, and I decided I wasn't going back. I didn't tell them that, but I decided I wasn't going back. And I remember going out and facing the world, driving through the night. And that was way out in the mountains. So it was very, very dark and very empty. And I was thinking, I'm on my own now. It's just me and whatever is out there. And I basically went on from there and just built my life and, dare I say, my philosophy from scratch. You know, of course, lots of bits and pieces that I found from others. There's not a lot that's really genuinely new anymore. And I was thinking about my daughter. She's at that point now as well. I don't know if she's thinking about it so much. I didn't really think about it as much then, but she is at that point now. And I thought, maybe I should make some videos sharing a little bit about what it's like to live a secular life. Kind of like a secular notebook in a way, kind of in sharing bits and pieces of what this experience is like. Sorry if I keep changing, I'm trying to protect from the wind. Let me see if I can duck over here. Let's go up here. Although if a cop comes up, they'll wonder what I'm doing down in the ditch. So, here's the wind. I remember this view. Because we parked our motorhome to go to Strider. Our trip with the Odyssey. We parked right here. And I remember looking over that valley down there. That's Los Angeles proper, Orange County down there, and the desert's out there. Let's dip down here into this gutter. Oh, let me grab the key out of the bike so no one comes up and rides away with it. But seriously, if a cop comes up, they're gonna, what are you doing down there in the ditch, boy? So, anyway, should be able to skip the wind. Yeah, this is better. Okay, this is kind of interesting. There's a target down here. Looks like a crime scene. I don't know. So anyway, I thought I called it like a secular notebook, something where I could collect those thoughts. And the first thought that came to my mind was, what's it going to be like for Emily to experience? What's it going to be like when her Christian friends, her new friends, find out that she's not going to join them, that she's decided against their gift in their community and being a part of what they've offered. And there's really two things that are in my experience, that are going to happen. The first is that people are going to expect, their answer will be, Christians typically, their first reaction is that you had some bad experience, that something bad happened, a bad preacher, example of somebody else that should have been pious that wasn't, that turned you off. You'll experience that. If I'm talking to my daughter Emily, you'll experience that all your life as a skeptic. There will be people who will suspect that something bad happened that turned you off, and if you could just have that good experience, then you'd be back on track. So that's the first one. The second experience, the second thing that you're going to experience is that they'll never. Christians will, when they're looking at you, when they're talking to you, they will communicate as though your life is on a path that is leading towards what they found. See, they believe they found the end-all, the nucleus, the answer to everything, the greatest truth, the only truth. Getting out of the wind again, and they believe that everybody else is looking for it, and everybody else will find it. It's almost like a giant star. Let's get out of this wind. I can't stand it. It's okay. Keep moving. It's almost like a giant star, and with huge gravitational influence. That would be the God. And then it's this truth that all the bodies in the universe. Wind. Let's get out of the wind. All the bodies in the universe, all the souls, all the everything that's out there is drawn to this great gravity well of truth, which is God, and that every path that you're taking, if you continue, if you live long enough, all life orbits will eventually fall into that well and discover God. So people will talk to you as though, for example, the things that are happening in your life, the issues that you're encountering, will help you, get towards that. And I think that what they think is basically, if you live long enough, it's kind of like a gamble. If you could just live long enough, having enough experiences, all human beings would eventually find God. The gamble is that you might not live long enough and you won't find it. It's a theme that runs throughout in their correspondence with you, their communication with you. It's as though you just hold out, just keep it going, and you'll eventually find the truth. Another word that you'll hear sometimes is this idea of the God-shaped hole, as though there's a hole inside of you that only God, it's a God-shaped hole, and only God can fill that hole. And you'll hear that a lot too. That you can't find anything else. That secular people like us constantly trying to, plug up that hole with, our secular activities, our thoughts, our philosophies, but nothing quite fits that hole. And from my perspective, what it is that hole is basically plugged up, and it is indeed a God-shaped hole, because you kind of plug it up in that shape. But what you don't realize, if you pull that thing out, what's behind it is a vast void of emptiness, the great unknown of the universe, which is far greater in scale and dimension and potency than any mere dark window. So for me, the God-shaped hole is simply plugging up that window into the unknown, so that you don't have to face that terrible, yawning depth of death, pain, and great indifference that is out there. It sounds kind of negative, but when you live with it long enough and you realize that seems to be how the universe really is, stuff around us just doesn't give a damn. But the stuff that you find, caring, love, compassion, ethics, morals, that's something that we create amongst ourselves and within ourselves, and we choose to express through the course of our lives. But I think I got to get out of here, with this wind is getting bad. But there you go, sweetie. That's for speaking to my daughter. There's a first entry in my secular notebook. I hope the wind wasn't too bad, and ducked out from this historic spot from our family legacy. I'm going to sign off for now, and maybe more. Maybe this will be something of a new playlist for the channel. We'll see. Talk to you later. Bye bye.